everybody, and welcome to HCAM Sports Talk. Tom Nappy here. In just a few moments, we'll be joined by Steve Watson and Andy Barron. But first, here are the latest Hiller happenings. On Wednesday, January 17th, Hiller boys basketball hosted Millis. The Hillers led 17-13 heading into the second quarter.
To DeLuca. Kicks it out. Iannelli for three. Knocks it down. Exactly what the Hillers needed there. They were a little cold to end that first quarter. Iannelli down the lane. Feeds it out to Willitson. He'll launch the three. Yes!
The Hillers outscore Millis in the second frame 14-7 to head into the halftime locker room up 31-20.
Iannelli with it. Gets it out to Willitson for three. Yes! Cooper Willitson. Dejan down the lane through the defenders. Hits the bucket and draws the foul.
Hiller's offense outscores Millis 21-17 in the third quarter and would end up taking the game 68-41. The Hiller boys improve to 8-2 on the season. On Thursday, January 18th, Hiller Alpine Ski took the slopes.
Time for event number 1002, Elizabeth Kenny, 28.47 on the blue course. Number 802, Lila Mono from Hopkinton.
Rankings for the Hillers included, on the boys' side, J.B. Flynn ranked 7th, Barry O'Brien 15th, Patrick Meehan 22nd. On the girls' side, Lucy Mado 9th, Lila Mado 17th, and Annalie Krantz 19th. On Friday, January 19th, Hiller girls basketball hosted Bellingham. Principal Evan Bishop and myself were on the call. The Hiller girls knocked down some threes in the first half.
Over. Restaghini up top. And now a three attempt, and it's good.
Grady?
Megan Grady feeling it.
That's how to get the offense going again.
Over the corner, up for three. Yes.
Grady.
Megan Grady. Back to Flynn again. Paharik now. Over to the corner, up for three. Yes.
Oh, she's hot.
Megan Grady feeling it.
Yep. Nice seal off screen right there from Whiteman Krause, too, on the low block.
There is Elder, and it's collected by Whiteman Krause. Here comes the Hillers. Paharik to Grady. Grady for three. Yes. Megan Grady from the left side.
The Hillers led 21-10 at the half and ended up taking the win 45-33. The Hiller girls snap a 2-game losing streak and improve to 8-4 on the season. On Saturday, January 20th, Hiller girls hockey hosted East Bridgewater. It was a scoreless game late in the third period.
Getting in the way, Perdoni. McPherson sends it to the slot, and a backhander. Good save off the Grotman shot by Riley Cholera. Ready for it. Oh, it's put in! What a shot there by Lucy Jean. Right off the face-off.
Can't go any better than that, right off the face-off. Looks like Spooner was a little bit stunned by that shot.
I was a little bit stunned by that shot. The score comes at 3:08 left to go in the third period, and Hopkinton DS able to take advantage of the power play.
Absolutely.
Over Finnegan, back to Jean. Jean and Finnegan. Finnegan puts it towards the net, turned away. Secondary shot, it's in! Goal for the Hillers! And that was Maddie Barroso making it 2-0.
Another power play goal, Tom. Just goes to show you those penalties can be costly.
The Hillers net 2 goals in the final 3 minutes and 8 seconds and take the win over East Bridgewater 2-0. The Hillers improve to 2-10-1 overall. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this segment of HCAM Sports Talk. Tom Nappy here, and now I am joined by Steve Watson and Andy Barron. Guys, how are ya?
Good. Good. How are you?
Oh, just fantastic. Steve, you're the voice of the Milford Scarlet Hawks. You had some pretty good games recently. How's it going over in Milford?
Had a couple of girls' games recently. They dropped them, unfortunately. It was over there Friday. We had a 3-0 game after one quarter. I can't say I've ever seen that before. And I've also been over at Nipmuc, too. So kind of split my time between the two schools. There's some good action so far this winter sports season.
There you go. My girls' game was very similar, actually. It was very low scoring first half, and then things picked up in the second half.
And there was no buckets through 7.5 minutes. So, it's kind of in the back of your head. Probably around the 5-minute mark, there's still no scoring. We've all seen it, 4 minutes in. Teams just can't hit a shot. And, by the 5th minute, they one goes in, but, you're on 6 minutes, none go in. 7 minutes. And all of us are kind of looking at each other like, are we really going to go the whole quarter without a point being scored? It almost happened.
Well, as long as you still get the same paycheck, it's all good.
Yeah, hey, it's all good.
All right. Well, that's good. The Milford boys, they're looking good in the rankings. Maybe Hopkinton Milford in the playoffs could happen.
That'd be fantastic. That game last month that we were both at, that was an amazing basketball game. I don't think anyone will complain if they rematch come playoff time.
Oh, absolutely not. That was definitely one of the best games of the season. One of the
I want to piggyback off of that because I've been saying this for a while that I believe these towns that are really close to each other need to start playing each other. Hopkinton and Milford should be playing each other every year.
Yes.
How about, Milford and even Milford Shrewsbury again? Bring back some of these old rivals, some of these other towns, and I've been specifically saying that, especially for American Legion baseball. And I remember I was talking when John and I last year were talking with Coach DeVito, and I was saying how, a team like Natick, a team like Medfield, that are close to us, Franklin. Why are we playing these teams? I just think it would be. I think high school sports needs to kind of redefine what they're doing a little bit. Now, I do like the state tournament. I think it's very good. I think the matchups are great. But there needs to be a little bit more local rivalries again. And I really think, especially like Hopkinton, Milford, you're right down the street. Why not play? I think it's.
Yeah,
I think it's only going to.
With you. I mean, I've seen some of these rivalries restored. It's good to see Milford Hopkinton kind of restored now, and on the basketball courts at least. The boys and girls teams both met up this season. The girls participated in the Mary Corby tournament over at Hopkinton, which the Hillers ended up meeting up with Milford in the championship game of that tournament, taking a close, hard-fought win, which was good. And then the boys met up. Great atmosphere. Hopkinton brought a crowd. Of course, the Milford crowd showed up. The student sections are going at it. I mean, that's what it's all about. It was a playoff-like atmosphere for that game. And when you got some of these local rivalries, like Milford and Franklin's a good one, Milford, Bedway, Hopkinton, Bedway, when you got those local rivalries, that's where you get both sections of fans showing up, and you get like a crazy atmosphere, and it's just a lot of fun. So I certainly agree with you. I think, especially with the state tournament now, you could be more localized during the season and play, some local teams that you don't necessarily usually play. I think one of the reasons that Milford and Hopkinton are starting to meet up more often in various athletic events is because they're either the same division or one is one up, so both of them get big benefits from meeting up with each other. So I think football wise, that would be a great rivalry to restore. Milford and Hopkinton used to play each other every season back in the day. I think you could bring something like that back, and hopefully we'll see more of that. I think seeing it on the basketball court a few times this season was great, and we certainly got to see more of it instead of these teams that are, close to an hour away that no one really knows around here.
Yeah, I think now that we have this state tournament, I think eventually conferences and leagues will vanish. It'll just be the state tournament, and teams will mostly play who's in their own division. So take Milford and Hopkinton for example. Football and basketball. I don't know about the other sports. I haven't gone through all of them, but for those sports, they are in the same division. So it makes sense to stay within your division for mathematical purposes with that power rating. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know if you'll see the divisions vanish because, like, the TVL at least has a lot of historic rivalries.
It does. Where I think it hurts you folks over in Hopkinton, as football especially. You're playing a lot of smaller schools, and that as you know, Tom, unfortunately hurts the power rating.
It does.
And Hopkinton has no say in it because they're in the TVL and they play the league schedule as assigned. So I'm not saying it's going to happen this year or even 5 years from now, but I think eventually one day it'll just be the state tournament. There won't be any leagues or conferences. I know in Rhode Island, it's a much smaller state, obviously. It's the Rhode Island Interscholastic Athletic League, whatever they're called. They handle all the scheduling and determine who plays who, all that stuff. I don't think that you'll see the MIAA go down that road, nor do you want that.
No.
I think you'll leave it in the hands of the ADs in terms of who their schools want to play. Some programs aren't in good shape, and you don't want to play a tough schedule. And some teams are in great shape, and you want all the challenges you can get. So I think that's where it's going to go eventually. For the next few years, it'll be status quo, but something to chew on maybe 5-ish years from now.
Steve, I agree with you. Two things. I think the conferences are eventually probably going to be going their way out the door because now we're in a state tournament format. And the second thing is, I think eventually, not going to happen next year. We know this, but I'd say within the next 10 years, Catholic conferences will have their own separate league. I think eventually there's going to be so much pushback from the MIAA and the schools that eventually they will. But I don't think we're going to see that probably in the next year or two. But I'd say in the next 10, 15 years, guys, you're going to see a lot of changes happening.
I agree with that. And no one around here is going to complain about that.
No, no, absolutely not. But I think just eventually, I've learned over the years that something really doesn't happen until, a lot of people start making an issue out of it. And It has been an issue for a very long time. Listen, guys, with football, you're never going to get it right. Okay. There's so many people, there's so much money involved and this and that. They'll probably never get that right. But I do think the MIAA has done a good job at the state tournament. I think it's gone actually very well.
Yeah, I agree. I think the state tournament's been great. I love it. It's way more even than it used to be. Because before you had these sectionals and it was ridiculous in some sports, especially hockey, for example. You'd have Hopkinton playing 6-7 games in the South bracket. Meanwhile, the Central bracket plays 3-4 games in the same amount of time. Yeah. So you get to that championship game against the Central bracket, and the team you're playing is well rested. It's pretty obvious that you're a little more tired than they are, and I think that might have affected some of these outcomes. So I think that's a problem that the state tournament solves, and so far it's been going great. I'm enjoying it.
It doesn't mean much more when you win a state tournament game. Like, say, for example, you've seen a lot of these rivalries happen in the state tournament. It means so much more when you win a state tournament game and you knock your rival out. That is a big deal, and that's where they definitely have got it right.
Yeah, and I know in a couple instances they've ran into cases where there's one team traveling a ridiculous amount. It's going to happen with this format. There's really no avoiding it. But I think for the most part, it's been pretty decent travel for mostly everybody.
Yeah, it has. I think, was it 2 years ago? It was Norton playing like Pittsfield or something like that, which obviously is very far. Norton is out here in the east. Pittsfield is out near the New York border. So I think they wound up playing like Saturday afternoon, something like that, which is more reasonable than playing a Friday night game. So but you only have a handful of those. These schools are smart enough to figure it out and work together to find a solution. But if that's the trade off to not having sectionals, I'm all for it. If it means a few schools have to travel further, then the system's not perfect state tournament. There's still some bugs to work out, but it's better than what was in place before.
100% agree. Much better, much more fair, much more even. And one of my favorite things about it is you get to see teams that you've never seen before, and you have the buildup of some different rivalries. I mean, there's a lot of schools that make the tournament pretty much on a annual basis, and they end up meeting up with the same teams in the state tournament they met up with the year before. And I know for Hopkinton soccer, for example, a couple teams they met up with, they ended up scheduling games within the regular season. And they didn't even know about those teams before. So some new relationships form amongst the teams, some new rivalries, and it's a lot more fair. You don't have one team playing 6 games to go to the championship and another team playing 4 games. So I think so far so good. But yeah, of course, there's some little kinks to work out. And I think over time, they'll certainly try to work some of those out. And should be an exciting future, hopefully, for MIA high school sports. And speaking of MIA high school sports, we have the latest Hiller schedule on our website, hcam.tv. So don't forget to check out where we will be. We'll have all your Hiller coverage right here on HCAM. But guys, we had some NFL football playoff games take place last week, and certainly some good excitement. You had Houston get crushed by Baltimore, and then you had an absolute epic battle between San Francisco and Green Bay. 49ers pulled it out. You had Detroit play a close one against Tampa, and Detroit ended up getting the win in that. What's that? Their first home playoff win in a long time, isn't it? And then you had the Chiefs and Buffalo close it out with a crazy back and forth game. And the Swifties get their way with Kansas City Chiefs advancing. And we will certainly pick the conference championship games. But what is your reaction from this past weekend of football? Steve, we'll start with you. Any reaction? And feel free to talk about any game or any detail you want.
We'll go in the order of the games. I didn't see all of Saturday as the Bruins game, so I wasn't too shocked over Baltimore over Houston. Houston, there's no shame though. They have a very bright future. You have a good young head coach, a good young quarterback. Baltimore is just the better team at this point. Yes, San Fran, they pulled that one out of the fire. The Green Bay probably should have had that one, but like usual, they screwed up against San Fran in the playoffs. And Sunday, Tampa, same as Houston, nothing to be ashamed of. They gave Detroit a great fight. Just Detroit's better. And then piggybacking on Green Bay, you got the Buffalo in that same category. They just cannot figure out how to beat the Chiefs. Can't figure out how to do things right in January. With Buffalo, this is their ceiling. You've seen it. This is the ceiling for them. If they were ever going to beat Kansas City, this was the time. KC is nowhere near as good as years past, and yet they still beat Buffalo anyway. So, for any members of Bill's Mafia out there, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Rough ending. Andy, what's your reaction from this past weekend of playoff games?
The Chiefs they're the modern day Patriots. They've now gone to 6 straight AFC championship games. I'm sorry. I have to say it, tell it like it is. Kelsey and Mahomes passed Brady and Gronkowski, for touchdowns and playoffs. I mean, Steve's right. They're not anywhere as talented as they were in years past, but they get it done. They just find a way to get it done. The Bills had everything on a silver platter. You had this game in Buffalo. And I told you guys yesterday, the last time the Bills beat the Chiefs was in 1993 when Joe Montana was the quarterback for for the Chiefs in the AFC title game. That game, ironically, was in Buffalo, and they still couldn't get it done. They need to make major changes with the Bills. They're not winning with this roster. And, I know they had some injuries, but still, they had enough to get it done, and they didn't get it done. Um, you know, Steve, you said this on the text message about if Belichick goes to Buffalo, it is. Do you know how bad this is going to look? I mean,
if he goes there, that might break the internet.
and like he goes to Buffalo, and let's not fool ourselves. The Patriots aren't even on the Bills level. I mean,
No.
not even close, right? I don't think it would happen. But is Sean McDermott done? Is he done there? I mean, are they gonna say they can't get over the hump? They just can't do it.
He does have 4 years left on his contract, though. So and not that money's really a problem for these owners, but they just signed him to an extension this past summer. Could they move on? Would it make sense to even? Yeah, perhaps.
If they can get Belichick, they should be all over it, and that'd be.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and credit to McDermott, he's put a good culture in there. He made them a playoff team.
But they can't get to that next level.
This is the ceiling. This is as far as they will go under him.
They're not going to beat the Chiefs.
No, it's just that simple. If you want to get to that next level, then as constructed, it's not going to happen.
Well,
it's just
what if
not.
Andy Reid retires after this year? That's a possibility.
And I've heard Travis Kelce might retire too, so who knows? Now, I wouldn't be shocked if either one of them retired, by the way. I would not be surprised.
Yeah, they are getting up there. It's just the Bills just can't get over the hump. This was the perfect opportunity, and like I told you both last week, I just can't really bet against the Chiefs. They've won so many big games in the past 6 or 7 years. And why? They have a quarterback. They have the quarterback. They have Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's just a great player. And there's everybody, like a lot of people get offended by when I say that. Oh, Brady, this, yeah, we know how great Brady was. I've never said Brady is here, and everyone else is here. I've already said it a million times. Patrick Mahomes is a great player, and he is definitely making a career for himself. If he wins another Super Bowl, now he's got 3. I mean, you got to start putting him in another category. You have to.
And Andy, you came climbing back on Steve and because of the Kansas City Buffalo. You're the only one to pick the Chiefs. Only one to get it right.
Well,
kind of in the back of my mind, I felt like the Bills could crumble again because it's just so typical of them.
So typical.
I think I went with the heart over the brain in that one.
So though, these Bills fans, how much more can these fans take, really? I mean, they have just got their heart ripped out time after time after time again. It really is unbelievable.
And they'll probably get their hearts ripped out a few more times.
Probably. Yeah, probably. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it's just, in the back of my mind, I kind of was hoping for a Buffalo-Detroit Super Bowl. That would have been. Who do you cheer for, right?
Yeah, that'd be like the torture bowl, 2 tortured fan bases.
Oh, jeez, I know. It was just, yeah, but that's just what I took away from it. The Bills cannot beat the Chiefs. It was a standard back when the Patriots were great. You want to win the AFC, you go through New England, and they were the measuring stick. You got by the Patriots, you had a good chance to win the. And remember, it took the Chiefs a couple times to get past us as well. So I mean,
yep.
And it took a incredible win by the Patriots in Kansas City, a place where they have not played well there over the years. I mean, they've only won 4 times there since 1962, which is just insane, right? But this was a huge win for the Chiefs yesterday. You just got to give them credit. That was a hostile environment they were in, and they got it done.
Yeah, I mean, they're certainly, they weren't necessarily as good as during the season as they've typically been, but they're reemerging in the playoffs, which is what the Chiefs seem to do. Even last year they had a little bit of a cold streak and then got red hot as the postseason aired and got into the postseason and, ended up going all the way. I don't know if that's going to happen this year, and that's something we'll discuss when we do our NFL picks in just a bit, but they know how to win in the postseason, no doubt about that. So we'll see if they can keep it going. And Speaking of picks, why don't we get into them, guys? How about that? All right. Well, we are doing 1.5 points for playoff games. So the new standings, I got 180. Jared got a couple back as he had an extra pick over me. He got 177, so he's right in there. Steve, oh wait, Mike's in third at 172.5. Steve is in fourth at 167.5, and Andy is back in the race at 166. So we got 2 games to pick for this week, the conference championships. And you know what? Just for fun, we'll make these an even 2 points. How about that?
All right.
These
There we go.
games mean even more stuff, even more now. So, all right. AFC Championship is the first game you'll get next Sunday. That's at 3 p.m. You got the 3rd-seeded Kansas City Chiefs at the 1st-seeded Baltimore Ravens. As good as the Chiefs are in the playoffs, this Ravens team, they just seem like they're on a different level. I think they could beat pretty much anybody right now. And I think this will be a close game, a competitive game. Chiefs will be in it, but I don't think anyone's stopping Baltimore this year. So I am going with the Baltimore Ravens to take down the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think it'll be probably a high-scoring game, like 34-27, something like that. Andy, who are you going with?
Well, as much as I want to take the Chiefs here, I'm gonna have to take the Ravens. I have to agree with you, Tom. As well as the Chiefs have played, the Ravens they really opened my eyes this last week. Now Kansas City is better than Houston, but I just this game is in Kansas City. Then it's a different ball game. But I just think the Ravens are just better, and this is a massive game for the Ravens because if the Ravens don't win this game, that's not good. Again, I mean, they're at home. I mean, you have the best team. And now you gotta get past Kansas City here. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game. I think it's gonna be close, but I do think the Ravens are gonna pull it out.
All right. Steve, who do you got?
Well, the 4 teams left, I think Baltimore is far superior to the other 3. They crushed the Lions. They crushed the Niners. The Chiefs have done well to get this far, but I think their run ends 27-17 Ravens.
All right, I like it. So Baltimore across the board, and hopefully we won't be all wrong like we were last week, except Andy. You got it.
Well, the other thing too is here, guys. I think the Ravens have only had to play. They've had to play one less game. The Chiefs now are going to be going on the road a second straight week. That adds up after a while. I mean, and I'm not.
That was their first road playoff game too. The Chiefs,
right? This will be the second one,
at least.
this is a tough spot for the Chiefs. That's going to be a raucous crowd in Baltimore, and let's face it, the Ravens are better than the Bills. I mean, it's
far better. Yep,
far better.
There's not many really great teams out there this year, but the Ravens are a team that I think check a lot of the boxes, and that's confirmed Christmas night when they absolutely dismantled the Niners in San Francisco. They destroyed that team.
Yeah, that was
San Fran's a good team, and they destroyed them, and they destroyed the Lions too.
Yeah, that's really an eye-opener.
That was the first time I said to myself that anyone could compete with the 49ers, because I think at the time, I think all of us probably felt like the 49ers were it. They were the pinnacle of the league. But then after that, it was pretty clear that it was Baltimore.
Yep.
So it should be a good battle, though. Mahomes certainly ain't going to go down easy in the playoffs. Never has, probably never will. And it could be Andy Reid's last year, too.
Could be, yeah.
He might be retiring. So they're playing for a lot here. And then you mentioned Travis Kelce. I didn't even know that was a consideration. I know Jason Kelce just retired.
Well, I'm sure Travis, he wants to go and hang out with Taylor Swift, which, if you believe Tony Romo, they're already married, but, that hasn't been substantiated yet.
He's going on the T Swift World Tour, I think. That's why he's considering. Like, she came to all the games, and now it's time for him to go to all the concerts.
Well,
repay the favor, right?
As much as we're not Travis Kelce fans. The guy's a Hall of Famer. I mean, There's no.
Oh,
there's-
absolutely.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And Jason Kelsey is too. There's no doubt about it. I mean, him and Mahomes are. I mean, of course, I'm a Brady Gronk guy, but you got to give credit where credit's due. I mean,
Yeah,
Mahomes.
They're good. Yep.
Second best deserves to get in the Hall of Fame too.
Sure.
All right. The 6:30 game, the NFC Championship, the Detroit Lions at the first seeded San Francisco 49ers. It's actually 6 p.m. Start time. I think kickoff's probably around 6:30. Well, Lions, 49ers. There's one thing I meant to say about the Packers that I forgot to say. Kudos to the Packers. They came out of nowhere. Kudos to the Bucks too. I'll get to that in a minute, but the Packers, you got not a rookie quarterback, but pretty much a new starting quarterback with Jordan Love, and they were having a pretty rough season for a while and really reemerged. I think it all started on Thanksgiving when they got that upset win over the Detroit Lions in Detroit. And after that, the Packers really just ended up becoming one of the best teams in the league, really, and beat a number of good opponents to get into the postseason. And then to go to the playoffs and get a win against the Eagles, an upset win on the road. And then you go and take on the 49ers and pretty much give them everything they can handle. And, the way the game ended was a shame. It was a bad interception, but it was kind of a rookie mistake, kind of like a new starting quarterback mistake. So he'll learn. I think Love will learn, and I think the Packers are certainly going in the right direction. I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with for a long time.
Yep.
And then also the Bucks, they were once upon a time 4-7, and they won 6 of their last 7 games to get into the playoffs. That is just unbelievable. So kudos to the Bucks. And not only that, they ended up getting a first-round win, too. So what a run Baker Mayfield and the Bucks had. They're probably the biggest surprise of the season, I would say.
Yeah.
But moving on to the NFC Conference Championship, Lions at 49ers. This is going to be a good matchup. You got 2 pretty good defenses going at it. 49ers defense probably a little more superior. Offensively, both teams have good weapons. Both teams have good quarterbacks. It's a very even matchup in a lot of ways, but I got to go 49ers. I think they are the Destiny's darlings of the NFC, and I think they're just too loaded to deal with for the Lions defense, which usually is good, but at times can be vulnerable. So I think the 49ers will win. Lions will compete hard. It will probably be a very close game. I could picture this going down to the wire, but I got to go 49ers, and I think I said it mid-season. My Super Bowl prediction was Baltimore and San Fran, so here we go. All right, Steve, who do you got?
Well, I've got a fun fact for you first about the Lions.
Love
So they
it.
hosted 2 playoff games when they played in Pontiac at the Silverdome. They were there 26 years. Only 2 playoff games they hosted. Those are the only 2 they hosted since 1957. That's a long time.
Wow.
And then this year they hosted 2 in the span of 8 days. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. That's progress right there.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, so I love what Dan Campbell's done. He has brought that team from literally nothing. What they have 3 wins in his first year, and even part of his second year, they still were not very good. So give him all the credit in the world. I think a lot of people would like to see them win, but I think San Fran's just the better team. I give them the edge in this one. I'm going to say 27-24 San Fran. It's going to be a good battle, though.
All right, Andy.
Speaking of 1957, Steve, that is the last time that the Detroit Lions won a road playoff game. That is astonishing. Seriously, how is that possible? That is almost, 60 years?
67, yeah.
Unfathomable to think,
Yeah.
right? Now you're going to go into San Francisco, a tough place to play. Look, the Lions have had a great year. Dan Campbell's done a great job. He has. They're one win away from going to the Super Bowl. I think they're still going to be good for Jared Goff is completely rejuvenated his career. But I just think the 49ers are better. I don't know if Deebo Samuel is going to play in this game, but I still think that the 49ers have enough. And Brock Purdy, I mean, again, a 6th-round draft pick, now his second NFC championship game. Pretty impressive. This would be, honestly, I'd be surprised if the Lions win this game. I just think it's just a tough spot for them. You know, can you imagine though if they do and they go to the Super Bowl? My goodness, the Lions in the Super Bowl. It's really would be the
I never
Lions
thought I'd
and
see
Bills
the day.
Lions and Bills fans and probably Browns fans have to be the most loyal fans in the NFL. I mean, for what they've all been through, the heartache they've been through. You know, but the 49ers are a great team. They're a great organization. And, Kyle Shanahan, I'm not a big fan of him, but you know what? He's had success here. You have to give him credit.
Yeah.
You have to.
He just needs to get over the hump of winning a Super Bowl.
That's the thing, right? But Brock Purdy, I mean, hey, they found a diamond in the rough with this guy. I mean, it's just the 49ers are pretty much healthy going into this game too, with, like I said, with the exception, Christian McCaffrey makes the difference in the world in this team. I mean, I just don't know if the Lions can slow him down. That's really the key. And George Kittle.
He was
that throw Brock Purdy made to
monster.
George Kittle, that was an amazing play in that Green Bay game, right on the money. But Detroit does have some good players. I mean, Brown's a great player. Sam Laporta's back, but I don't know. I think it's going to be like a 31-24 game. And I just think the Lions, I mean, the coaching, Dan Campbell, I just think he's a little too aggressive at times. And where he kind of just, I don't know.
He needs to get away from the analytics a little bit, I think, in certain situations.
Yeah.
We'll save that.
But it should be a good game, though.
And by the way, a little bit of breaking news. There's going to be a tight end joining the Detroit Lions for the NFC Championship, and that is Zach Ertz. So they only had Laporta. That was their tight end depth chart. And now they're adding Zach Ertz, who was a free agent, and he will be joining the Lions for the NFC Championship game. So I think that's a pretty nice addition there.
Yeah.
And
I don't know how much he'll play, but Sam Laporta's good. He's a good player.
Pretty awesome, though. You get to go straight to the NFC Championship.
Could play for the Lions. I mean, will there be some Lions fans out in San Francisco? I bet you there'll be some fans that will travel.
Yeah.
They travel
Lions
well.
are one of those teams that they're beloved pretty much throughout the country. So I feel like there's people probably in every state that root for the Lions. So I think there'll be some out there.
Yeah, I think everyone's pulling for the Lions, with the exception of the fans in San Francisco. The whole country wants the Lions to win.
And most of their fans probably think that they're going to go back to the tank next year, being this is their year. So, there's probably those crazy fanatic fans that are following them around.
I can't even fathom if the Lions win a Super Bowl. Like, it would just be it'd be insanity. I mean, what would Jared do? I mean, he would just he'd probably go to Detroit for the parade.
I should just mark him down for the Lions.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure that's who he's going with.
He's taking the Lions. But yeah.
Well, there it is. The conference championships. Boy, did this season just fly by.
Mm-hmm.
Should be a fun Sunday of conference championship football. And with that, believe it or not, we are out of time, but we do have a few minutes left for final thoughts. Steve, any final thoughts for you?
Yeah, it's great to see the Bruins and Celtics still playing hard and doing well. They're definitely our beacons of hope right now. The Red Sox and Patriots sure as heck are not. I'd really like to see what the Patriots' plan is. I don't think they have one to get back to greatness. I'm not really thrilled with how things have unfolded. And final thoughts on Belichick. I'd still say Atlanta, but you never know. Maybe he went with the Bills. I'm thought maybe he'd wind up with Dallas, but didn't want to go there. So I love how the coaching carousel has gotten more attention than the playoff games at times this month. It's been kind of crazy. There's a lot of big names out there. So, other than that, enjoy and stay warm, folks.
Absolutely. Andy, any final thoughts?
Just to kind of go off what Steve said, there's a lot of vacancies in the NFL right now. It looks like the Jim Harbaugh is probably going to the Chargers. That's what it seems to be right now. And I would have to say Bill is probably going to go to Atlanta, although Mike Vrabel is interviewed there as well. You got to think Bill's getting that job. I just can't. I can't see them going with Vrabel or even Jim Harbaugh. I don't even know if he would want to go there. But it seems like Harbaugh going to the Chargers is probably going to happen. I still think Mike Vrabel is going to get a job. I mean, what about Seattle?
That'd be a good fit for him.
I just thought of that the other day. I mean, Pete Carroll still is there as an advisor or whatnot, but I could see him going to Seattle. And it looks like Nick Sirianni is staying in Philadelphia, but he's going to be on a short leash next year. He has to be. But it is going to be interesting. And if Belichick goes to Atlanta, 2025, they come to Gillette Stadium. That is going. You cannot tell me for 1 second he is not going to have that game circled in his calendar.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Arthur Blank supposedly flew him in on his private plane, so I don't know. I mean, do you fly a guy on your private plane you're not heavily considering?
Oh no, Arthur Blank.
I don't have a private plane, so I don't know the answer to that question, but
he is going to be one of the richest owners of the NFL. Arthur Blank. He'll probably pay Bill whatever he wants. I mean,
oh yeah. I think Atlanta would be a tremendous fit for Bill. I've talked about it in our text discussion that we have on a regular basis. I think it's a great fit. I mean, they need a quarterback over there, but they have a lot of the other pieces they need. They have weapons. They have a decent defense. And they have a lot of young talent that I think Bill could work with. And, one thing that Bill's great at doing is taking nobodies and turning them into somebodies. And I think Atlanta would be a great place for that. So I can picture him there. I'd say that's probably the number one place I could picture him right now. And I'll tell you this, though. If Harbaugh goes to the Chargers, look out for the Chargers because they're finally going to get a coach to add on to their already talented roster. They've had the talented roster. They just haven't had the coaching. So if they're bringing Harbaugh in there, they're getting themselves a great coach. So Chargers fans should be crossing their fingers he ends up signing there for sure. But my final thought of the show is Hiller Sports. Be sure to check out our broadcast schedule on our website, hcam.tv. A lot of big games coming up. It's going to be, and we're getting close to playoff time, believe it or not. So these games mean a lot. And you certainly want to try to rack up those wins to get some home field advantage in the state tournament. So again, check out our website, hcam.tv, to find out where we will be. We are covering pretty much all the Hiller home games. But that is going to do it for this edition of HCAM Sports Talk. For Steve Watson and Andy Barron, I am Tom Nappy. As always, we thank you for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk to you again soon. Goodbye, everybody.
On Tuesday, January 9th, Hiller Swimming hosted Dedham. Maureen and John Belger were on the call.
Nice. 5.5. And did you hear the second score? 5.5, 5.5. 6 1/2, 6 for Eve. Very nice. All right. Come on, Maya. All right, very nice. Finishing strong. Come on, Natalie. Come on, Caleb. All right, so Caleb is a senior, as we said, and a captain. Jack Kelly is a junior, and Samartha is a freshman here on the team. Nice swim by Caleb Burke.
The Hiller boys took the 82-41 victory, grabbing their first win of the season. They are now 1-3. Hiller girls fell to Dedham 78-97. Hiller girls are now 2-2 on the season. Also that Tuesday, Hiller girls basketball hosted Dover Sherborne. Steve Spector and myself were on the call. It was a 9-6 Hiller lead heading into the second quarter.
Here's Paharic. Davies now. Gets it out to Flanagan. Down the lane. Past the defender. Count it.
Tough one. Left-handed. On the change of possession down here, they are always looking for a double and a trap, and they've had a handful of
Hills for three. Oof. Yes. Erica Hills knocks it down, and we're knotted up at 15 apiece.
Good game.
Up for three is Restaghini. That's no good. Ends up in the arms of Paharic.
Yes.
Down the lane. Yes.
Big one. And that'll do it.
Good finish for the Hillers.
Another back and forth quarter. Hillers led it 21-17 heading into the third quarter.
Certainly is, and you'd expect a timeout relatively soon if this Hiller momentum keeps up, and it will keep up in a big way. Finnegan with her second bucket of the third quarter. Hills with it, gets it over to Leah Hills, now coming in from the corner, stripped away.
There it is.
Hillers have it. Davies feeds it to Restaghini. Restaghini to the rack, up and in with the left hand she goes.
Big hoop, big hoop.
Hillers outscored Dover Sherborne in the third quarter, 14-2. Dominant defense and good shooting would propel the Hillers to grab the win over Dover Sherborne, 42-28. Hillers improved to 7-2 with the win. The Hillers followed up with a 51-36 road loss against a tough Medway team and currently stand at 7-3 overall. On Wednesday, January 10th, Hiller Wrestling hosted Norton in their senior day match. Here's a look. Norton ended up winning a very good battle, 40-42. Hiller Wrestling is now 1-3 on the season and has a number of big tournaments coming up. Congratulations to the seniors. Also that Wednesday, Hiller Boys Hockey hosted a very young Bellingham team, and the Hillers got things going early.
Now it's working. Gervais has it, able to send it out, but sends it to Merkel, who puts it in, and the Hillers strike back. Into the neutral zone is Merkel. Here comes Hayward. Hayward racing in towards the net, backhands it, 5-hole, go Hillers! Here comes Resnick. Sends it over. Ian Tosca with a backhander. And that is going to be another goal. White Ian Tosca backhands it in. Where it's out, Merkel slices it up the ice to Adams. He has a breakaway. Closing in, backhander, he pops it in. What a beauty from Jake Adams.
Hillers outscore Bellingham 4-1 in the first period and take the game by a final of 10-2. Hiller boys also followed up with a 3-2 road win over Norton and currently stand at 7 wins, 1 loss, and 2 ties on the season. On Thursday, January 11th, Hiller Alpine Ski participated in their first meet of the year. Here's a look.
Time for bid number 1012. Sophia White, 33.96 on the red course. Number 812, Lucy Graham from Hopkinton. Time for number 415, Nikita Metcalf, 27.76 on the blue course. Number 113, Scott Cronin from St. John's.
For the Hillers on the girls' side, Annalie Krantz finished 3rd place, Lucy Mado finished 11th, and Lila Mado finished 13th place. On the boys' side, JB Flynn finished 11th place, Barry O'Brien finished 15th, and Patrick Meehan finished 24th. On Friday, January 12th, the 5-2 Hiller boys basketball team battled the 4-4 Medway Mustangs in a cross-TVL matchup.
With a pair of defenders on him, having a little trouble, gets it away, ball knocked away, and a turnover for the Hillers. Pantera to the rack, count it. And Ellie taking it up over to Marcinowski. Back to the wing, long 3, Pantera, yes! Sam Pantera knocking down his second 3 of the game.
The Hillers outscored Medway in a backhand first quarter, 17-15.
Ianelli behind the back dribble. Feeds it to Willitson. Now Pantera along the corner, drives baseline. Great feed to Del Ponte, who lays it in off the fingertips. Ianelli over to Dedejian. Down the lane, feeds it over, up, and no good there. Grabs the rebound, Marcinowski for the putback. That's no good, batted in the air, and Pantera puts it back up, no good. Puts it up a 3rd time, no good. Hillers still have it as it's collected by Cho. Dedejian driving in for the jumper, and they get the bucket. Wow!
Another back-end fourth quarter. In the second frame, Hillers outscored Medway 15-11 and led 32-26 heading into the second half.
Really a little bit more of a defensive affair, as you would expect from a good defending team like Medway. Del Ponte for 3, count it! Kept in play, but the Hillers collect. It was good hustle by Parlin, but no one there for Medway. Ianelli knocks down a 3!
Hillers open it up in the third quarter and outscore Medway 21-14. Heading into the fourth quarter, it was a 53-40 Hiller lead, and that would prove to be too much for Medway to overcome as the Hillers took the win 72-56. The Hiller boys improved to 6-2 on the season, and a big congratulations to Hopkinton Hillers boys basketball head coach Tom Keene, who earned his 300th career win with the victory, a tremendous accomplishment by Coach Keene. On Saturday, January 13th, Hillers Dover Sherborne Girls Co-op Hockey hosted Ursuline Academy. The Hillers fell early 1-0, but came back in a big way.
Approaching out in front, backhander, and it is put in. Barroso on the 3rd attempt, able to backhand it in glove side. Sent out by Bent. Here come the Hillers. Lucy Jean is going to get it over to Barroso, and Barroso chips it in. Just a beauty of a feed. Perdoni flying up the ice. Approaching, backhander, count it! Reese Perdoni! Reese Perdoni out of Dover Sherborne, flew right up the far side, gets in front of the net, backhands it 5-hole. A 3-1 Hiller lead.
The Hillers strike for 3 goals in the first period and took a 3-1 lead heading into the second period.
Matched up with Zarcy. Zarcy comes away with it, sends it over to Clifford. Clifford takes a shot and puts it in.
Ursuline Academy gets one back, and it's a 3-2 Hopkinton DS lead heading into the third period.
Along the far side, here she goes. Flying up the ice, towards the net, takes it, yes! Lucy Jean gets the breakaway and puts it in.
Lucy Jean strikes with the finisher, and Hopkinton Dover Sherborne picks up the 4-2 win. Hillers collect their first win of the season and now stand at 1-9-1 overall. Congratulations to first-year head coach Ron Chin on his first career win at the helm.
Saturday morning cartoons are back. Every Saturday at 8 a.m., HCAM's Toon Time has an hour of classic cartoons, from Betty Boop to Superman to Popeye to Bugs Bunny and more. You'll see your old favorites and discover new ones. So tune in to Toon Time, Saturdays at 8, and start your weekend off with a laugh.
Actually, just the glory. We asked 100 fourth graders, what is a state in the western part of the United States?
Come on, world map, where are you? Confident.
Confident?
Very confident, apparently.
Fabulous. I'm Sidney Donda, and I'll see you there.